To bring the beauty of the outdoors inside, wealthy Victorians decorated their homes with a vibrant, artificial flora. But the pursuit of that exact shade of nature ended up turning their living rooms into toxic traps. Look at this photograph of 19th century London. The rapid expansion of factories and coal power blanketed major European cities in thick layers of gray soot and heavy smog. Trapped in this grime, people across all social classes developed a desperate appetite for anything that could remind them of the natural world. The problem was that existing green dyes couldn't deliver that illusion. Natural pigments derived from copper carbonate, like verdigris, were notoriously unstable. Apply them to a dress or a wall, and within months they oxidized into a dull, murky brown. The crushing gloom of the industrial city produced a massive, highly lucrative market vacuum. Consumers wanted a bright, permanent green, and they were willing to pay for it. In 1775, a Swedish chemist named Carl Wilhelm Scheele found the solution. By 1814, industrialists had refined his work into commercial dyes. The process required a specific chemical reaction. Manufacturers dissolved sodium carbonate in hot water, stirred in arsenious oxide, or white arsenic, and introduced copper sulfate. This yielded a bright green precipitate called copper arsenate, locking a lethal dose of arsenic into a stable molecular structure. For textile and wallpaper manufacturers, this was the perfect material. It was incredibly cheap to produce in bulk, and the color it yielded was intensely luminous and highly resistant to fading. Science took a known deadly poison and packaged it perfectly to meet consumer demand, readying it for mass commercial deployment. Production scaled up at a staggering pace. By the 1870s, factories in Britain alone were churning out over 32 million rolls of wallpaper every single year. This specific pigment completely dominated the domestic sphere, perfectly complementing the massive consumer trend for lush, leafy, and floral interior design motifs. Soon, the dye spread far beyond walls. It was dusted onto artificial flowers, woven into fashionable muslin ballgowns, and painted onto children's toys. The industry's application of the pigment became aggressively reckless. It was even used as a food dye to color sweets, leading to tragedies like the Bradford lozenge poisonings, where dozens of people fell severely ill after eating arsenic-laced mints. Because of weak regulations, manufacturers seamlessly embedded a lethal heavy metal into the daily routines of every socioeconomic class in Europe. The medical crisis became impossible to ignore by late 1861, following the death of Matilda Schurrer, a 19-year-old artificial flower maker who spent her days dusting fake leaves with the green powder. Her final days were agonizing. She suffered from severe abdominal pain and vomited green water. Before she died, her doctor noted that both her fingernails and the whites of her eyes had turned distinctly green. In the Limehouse district, 4 young siblings died shortly after sharing a brightly papered green bedroom. Baffled doctors initially misdiagnosed the cause of death as diphtheria. Even heads of state were vulnerable. While exiled on St. Helena, Napoleon Bonaparte suffered chronic, severe stomach pains. He lived his final years in a damp house, specifically requesting that his rooms be decorated with aggressively green wallpaper. The pigment did not discriminate. From teenage factory workers to children in their nurseries to a former emperor, the chemical struck anyone who inhaled or ingested its dust. As the death toll climbed, the medical community struggled to explain exactly how a wall decoration was poisoning its owners. They eventually isolated 2 distinct attack vectors. The first was simple physical abrasion. The cheap binding agents in the wallpaper dried out, causing microscopic flakes of copper arsenite to break off, float into the air, and settle in the lungs of anyone breathing in the room. The second vector was entirely invisible, acting as a stealth attack unique to the damp, poorly ventilated architecture common in Victorian homes. When moisture seeped into the walls, common fungi began to grow on the wallpaper paste. These mold spores metabolized the copper arsenite, converting the solid pigment into an invisible, highly lethal vapor known as Gosio gas. Victorian consumers were caught in an inescapable crossfire. Their own homes bombarded them with breathable toxic dust during the day and slowly gassed them while they slept. Physicians like Dr. Thomas Orton in London and Dr. Robert Kedzie in Michigan began mapping the illnesses directly to the green decor, publishing their findings to warn the public. They faced intense resistance from the industrial elite. Prominent tastemakers, including the famous designer William Morris, who happened to own shares in one of the world's largest arsenic mines, initially dismissed the medical reports as hysteria. Unable to convince manufacturers, reformers turned to the press. Medical warnings, combined with horrifying satirical cartoons, bypassed industrialists and brought the danger to the public. As gruesome details of these poisonings spread, consumer terror took over. Widespread outrage sparked massive boycotts against any green products. The government never actually issued a formal ban on arsenic wallpaper. Instead, sheer market panic forced the industry into a total retreat, compelling them to abandon the poison in favor of safer synthetic green dyes. The mass manufacturing finally stopped, but the physical artifacts of the Victorian green invasion still exist in the world today. Organizations like the Poison Book Project frequently locate 19th century volumes dyed with Scheele's and Paris green. Modern heritage conservators and librarians still have to deploy full hazmat protocols just to safely handle them. In their effort to celebrate the health and vibrancy of the natural world, Victorians inadvertently manufactured an inorganic environmental hazard that will persistently linger in archives and walls for centuries to come. Arsenic Green remains a stark historical warning about the blind spots of mass production. It highlights a period where the demands of aesthetic consumerism completely eclipsed the value of human life.